The new Citroen, or not Citroen, DS4 Crossback is today in Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars with Thomas. So with this new car, they're doing kind of three things at the same time. First of all, it's now the same as we have with the DS5. The DS5 review will also be linked in the video description. It's not kind of the main Citroen brand anymore. It's now really the separate DS brand. So it's, well, I still got the title Citroen DS4, but is just now called DS4. The second thing is, this is also a facelift, not only with a new front. We also got some new stuff in the interior with the infotainment system. And actually the third thing is that here we got the Crossback variant. There's a normal hatchback variant and the Crossback variant, and you also see some slight stuff there. It kind of has this off-road styling look. And about all of these aspects, we're going in depth now on the exterior, interior and driving experience with the new DS4 Crossback. Join us here on Autogefühl. Let's go. We're starting here at the front. This one has been completely redesigned, and well, the first time I saw it, I had to think about a Kia seat, or what do you think about it? I didn't have the impression with the DS5, but now had some kind of the impression with the DS4. It's the main differentiation already now to the, for example, to the Citroen C4, which starts at about 17,000 euros. The DS4 here now, the premium variant in the compact car segment at Citroen, or at Citroen DS. It's about 24,000 euros, and you see it's not the Citroen badge anymore, it's the DS Wings badge in the front and a shiny black grille, and also some kind of different headlights. So what do you think about this new front, especially when you compare it to the previous version, which had this still the Citroen logo then? So this is the main change here with the facelift at the same time. And again, the strategy behind that to put DS really as a separate brand with the existing models. DS5 it started, now DS4. The same will also happen to the DS3 and all of other models which are, for example, also sold outside of Europe. So this is a new strategy they're going now, and the same happens, by the way, at the dealerships. Entry price at 24,000 euros, taking Germany price list as a reference, 24,000 euros for the new DS4. And then the Crossback variant we have here is about 1,500 euros extra. What do you get from that? Well, first of all, you got broader wheel arches in the front and in the back. Then you got this off-road style look here, so you don't, well, get scratches here that easily, and have this, you know, contrast here. 16-inch aluminum alloys are from serial production. These ones here are the optional with 18-inch, or they come with the higher trim levels. And then it gets a little bit more interesting here at the side. We got contrasting mirror caps here, then a chrome frame all around the car, and a lot of DS design details, because DS is all about design. For example, the DS logo here. What else you get for this 1,500 euros extra? You got roof rails with the Crossback version. Then you could theoretically also, it would actually start here, a contrasting roof color. 4 different roof colors available. It was black, blue, orange and dark red. Then you can also have a 2-color scheme of the car, and together with all of the other colors, 33 combinations of colors then with roof and basic colors are basically available. If we take a more total look of the car again, the Crossback has a special feature. It sits 3 centimeters higher. Manufacturers always state it in millimeters because it sounds more than, for example, also when they put cars lower. So it would be 30 millimeters or 3 centimeters. You see, we got a little bit more ground clearance. That's good. And you see, that's the basic principle we've seen lately with with a lot of other cars, for example, also the Infiniti Q30, because modern customer demands are also about a little bit higher ride, a little bit crossover, a little bit maybe SUV touch, you know, that you got uprighter seating position, also more ground clearance for maybe speed bumps inside the city, or if you're going down the pavement, up and down the pavement. I think it's actually practical. If you do not want a sporty car, then why not put the car a little bit higher? Especially now in the DS variant, what's also kind of astonishing is this special coupe rear ending. This is, by the way, also the closing door, that you got this kind of spectacular ending. But you know, this area then is not good for the visibility, however. But a lot of interesting forms, for example here, the broad shoulders here, and very strong contours. Also when you open the door here on the inside, what they have done here, also very interesting contour-wise. And the same kind of continues over in the rear. You see here again a broader wheel arch with the crossback variant. And if you think about a normal hatchback variant, we'll also soon show you some of the pictures there. You can really compare the new facelift variant. Then I also want to hear your opinion. What do you think is better? If you have this one here, the crossback style, a little bit higher, or do you more prefer the classic style? State me that one later in the comments. Finally, we got a quite spectacular rear. We do lose some space on the inside because it is round and, you know, kind of flat, the rear window. And we got a black wing, contrasting color again, so a lot of different design elements here. You see the designers could really play around a little bit, also with this kind of 3D effect of the taillights. Not really sure what it shall actually symbolize, but it's coming just out right here. Very interesting concept then. You see the crossback also has dark contrasts here, for example with the crossback sign, and again the separate DS logo. It has been here before, but again stretched in this kind of version. And you see the lower part is also with the black plastic fenders. It's also a difference then to the classic style. And well, this is not the real exhaust, that is just fake. The real exhaust is placed way down below. So what's your opinion? I think it's a very brave design, definitely. The basic concept to go this crossback version, offer some crossover style. Well, you can doubt if it's really 1,500 euros extra more worth. Maybe they could have just offered that one a little bit cheaper. But I think the basic concept to offer a compact car which sits a little bit higher and has a more, you know, better practicability use in everyday city driving, I think that's actually a clever idea. And no matter if you think the design is good or bad in general, it is brave, and I think that's one main reason for sure yet to go for this car, because it does attract attention. So now one short look over at the normal hatchback version, and you see we don't have those broader wheel arches, not the black plastic surfaces here. This is all in the same wheel color then, the more elegant way for sure, but not that kind of crossover style. So what's your favorite one? The normal hatchback as it's seen here, or the crossback? I think both have actually something. Not really usual a fan of grey cars, but here in the contrast with the chrome mirror cups, that looks really amazing, I must admit. The alloys, by the way, huge here, 19-inch, but maybe that loses some comfort. But we'll sort of take a short test ride with that one and see. A little bit protected by the tires, but not too much. But B color, they are very beautiful, but maybe also more prone to scratches. And as I said, we don't have those plastic fenders then. And if we continue over to the rear, it's basically all the same. But there's one difference here now, I've talked about that earlier. Here we do have the contrasting roof. It's really hard to see, but you see here we got the gray vehicle color, and then we got here the black contrasting roof. And this one could be black, blue, orange or dark red. So 4 colors for the roof you could pick here. And I think it's, well, a good way to individualize a car even more. And this individualization of cars, this is a very big meter topic that has been all around with all manufacturers, and it will still be rising in the next years. And the rear, again, no broader wheel arches, no crossback sign, so this is really the normal hatchback then. As I said, more, you know, a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more elegant, and not that kind of screaming as the crossback. standard Citroen or Peugeot key. Open the car, rear mirrors, side mirrors, sorry, slide out. Let's take a first look inside. The doors are kind of slim and also don't feel too solid actually if you compare it to other competitors, but the window line is kind of upright. Then first look into the interior. That's actually the basic difference from the C4, the normal compact class model. You got totally different steering wheel, flattened end, but that's not kind of the sporty setup. You see it's a kind of huge steering wheel, also more this exclusive comfort style, also with these chrome rings we can for example see here, or also how the vents are chrome framed. I usually like these seats here very much. These ones here, they have the mix between Alcantara on the inside and leather on the, but this is, as I've asked them, actually real leather. I'm not sure why they did that. Total usage, just use faux leather on the outside. Then these ones would be the best seat. You see they're also very well contoured after forming your body kind of. And the basic setup would be then cloth seats, that you get the cloth stuff on the inside, and then there are several leather options available. But as I said earlier in the separate video, it's kind of useless to go for that one. However, they do have special functions here, and I can show you that when I sit down. First of all, you see here, you slide over the side here a little bit, but the side is kind of soft so you don't hurt yourself. And then they offer actually a good side support a little lower and also at the higher parts, so a very comfortable seating position. So first seating test, I think that's really very good. Then there are several functions here. For example, when I'm turning on the ignition, I can show you better. We get the seat heating actually in 3 levels. You turn that on here, 0, 1, 2, 3. And there's also this lumbar support. This is the radio, not the lumbar support. So you got lumbar support back and front again. And then this is kind of the same, but it's just automatically. Let me see, I think I have to turn the engine on for that. Now it's working. This is then the massage function, and it's basically working that the lumbar support is going out and in again. And well, I think you can easily leave that function out, so not the most necessary one. Usually the massage functions are just very effective if they can cover kind of your whole body. But the seating position, again, as I said, very comfortable. And here you also feel you sit a little bit higher here, especially in the Crossback version. You know, the DS4 itself is also not a very low sitting car, but this one here even sits a little bit higher, and so you got a very good visibility in the front and also to the sides, because well, although it's kind of a design car, all the window lines are kind of steep, and therefore you also still have a quite good visibility to the side. Just to the, you know, the cross behind, right there at the C-pillar, there it's a little bit limited because of this falling roofline in the back then. But another thing that is actually quite interesting is here the special panoramic roof, because that one here, you see, you have a great look outside to the sun, and they think, okay, maybe I am totally blind sometimes, but then you can first of all move that one down. I'll also show you that one while driving later on as well, and then you can move down the whole segment and even in length that one. So if it's getting too hot or too shiny, then it's actually possible to close that one. But in general, I think it's a very good idea that you, well, that's the problem actually. You know, when you try to move it up, that one is getting loose on the right part, but here so it's best to move it up that way. And then really huge view, you know, that's also possible here. And then the only thing is, it looks kind of weird that the sensors and the rear mirror are kind of alone here in the middle, but you know, you have to put them somewhere. But this panoramic solution here, I really like that. Inside of the doors, by the way, well, I would have wished that we used some more better material here. However, what is good, for example, this one here, you see small DS logos are covered around here. More of those details, please. The basic interior design is also about this stylish stuff, let's call it that way, as the DS brand is offering, and that will also differentiate it to the usual Citroen models. Here we actually also got more serial equipment, where we do pay a higher price, of course, yes. But for example, the air conditioning is from serial equipment, the basic parking aid is from serial equipment, and also the cruise control is also just in every DS4 car you can get. So I like it when you got a lot of serial equipment. However, the automatic emergency assistant the emergency braking assistant is not included in serial equipment. And I would really urge you to do that. Please, Citroen managers or DS managers, include that in every car. I think this is just a thing of safety. Here you have to then pick a special package to do that. So what can we see here? We see some contours here on the upper part. This is, by the way, a little bit softened up, so that's not all hard plastic then here. And you see those round chrome elements around the instruments. I can also illuminate them that you can see how they really look. Those ones look a little bit outdated, haven't been changed with the facelift so far. See, I got the blue color here right in the middle, but I can also change it, make it, for example, darker. That's, I think, a good solution, or the bright or more the white side, but I prefer the dark blue style. That is something special then, I think. What about this new infotainment system? This has really changed with the facelift. Minus 12 buttons, so 12 buttons less, because you have the new infotainment system with this facelift here for the DS4, and also just the main buttons, for example, to hop to the map or to the sound system. You see, we are close to Berlin and the lake. However, it's, well, the software, I'm not 100% satisfied with it. GPS is actually quite fine. We also know the basic software from something else. It's just that usually with the other Citroen and Peugeot models now the screen is kind of separately attached. You cannot zoom in and out like on a smartphone. You have to use the minus and plus buttons here for that one. And volume for radio is here, for example, or just to mute it. Then use the touchscreen to, for example, choose a new destination. That is also possible. Then about the consumption, that should be, let's see, current infos, 16.9 liters. I think that can't be really right. We have to investigate that further on later, because that's obviously diesel and not really what you would expect. Maybe we reset it and then tell you later on what consumption we have scored. And however, there's also MirrorLink available with Apple CarPlay as well. If you have you have to use the USB function. However, you have to get the DS Connect box for that one, and that one is 1,600 euros extra in Germany, for example. Then you have the full smartphone integration. Otherwise, you can just go to the normal phone function, search for your phone as an iPhone search function. Those are not mine, by the way. I'm not El Gigolo. And then you can just search for a new iPhone and connect that one. You don't need the Connect box for that. The Connect box is really for the full smartphone integration. By the way, if you see that one here, this cover, I think it's quite nice, because if you look in very detail, there again you see those very, very small DS logos again. And that is actually a quite nice solution. Then if you move on down a little bit, this is the climate unit. It's that air conditioning from serial production. The outside of those buttons are just from very soft rubber, and that it feels a little too cheap, and it will also get, not that nice over the time. However, I think it's good that we see the temperature behind those fake glass, and that is a good solution. It's also kind of clean solution. However, yeah, we have to turn the vents like this. But again, I think for a premium line inside the model range, this one needs to be updated even more. It doesn't really feel that premium. The automatic shifting lever is actually, well, looking quite good, and also, as you feel it, actually quite nice. But then I realized, what is this? You can kind of, again, you see it? I could lift it up. That is how it is fixed. I can lift it up, and then it's kind of loose. That can't happen, really, seriously. Then if I start the engine, it's like not just going straight down. It's this very old function where you have to go this, then it's reverse. Then we can also see the rear view camera. Quite nice solution, by the way, resolution, by the way. Actually quite satisfied with that one. But then you have to go, this is like neutral, and then one step back even more is D. I'm not sure why they did it just in one line. Manual shifting is by the way that one. Also talking about that later on when we're driving. Or maybe I did that turning up the RPM with my foot, because the acceleration pedal is close to the brake pedal. And then you go back to P again, to parking mode, and well, a little bit complicated, but in usual I would still go for the automatic gearbox. We'll also test that one later when we drive. The electric handbrake, by the way, is situated right next to the start and stop button. That one is right here, then it's activated, and then just listen to that. The car has a funny security system, because when I when I have the door opened and then I go into D mode, that is, for example, the one warning sound, already quite strange. And I think there's also another one, this one. That is also when you have the electric brake released. Oh my god, everything is going to explode, help me! I can just close the door and then it's gone. Yeah, it is actually quite good to have some acoustic warnings for something that might be going wrong. But I think this one is really a little bit exaggerated. And then I can use my very comfortable seat and also adjust the head restraint, because I can move that one a little bit further, can back further again, and just relax a little bit and enjoy the panoramic windscreen. Yeah, did the same mistake again here. Enjoy the panoramic windscreen and then maybe relax a little bit from this very emergency tone. Storage spaces here at the inside of the doors, they are actually quite huge, a lot of stuff to be put in there. Then we have a standard glove box, slides also down quite smoothly, and well, reasonable space in there definitely. Then there's a small spot in front of the shifting lever. However, what you can just, even I can't really see it. There's a 12 volts power supply hidden here. You can maybe hear that, how I can flip it. Even I can see it really properly, not the best solution. And there's also a USB port and an aux in port there. I can just feel it kind of, because it's that way hidden. Then the armrest, it's a little bit strange because it goes in this, you know, two-way system, up and down. And then you can also put some stuff in here. And that is the surprise. We got a real power supply, 230 volt power supply for a usual German plug in here. That's good. For example, you can also charge your laptop there. And well, beverage holders, there's, you see the smoking device here. Why would you smoke in a car? And then there's this beverage holder here, well, kind of small, so not really suitable for huge bottles. And also when the armrest is here, and I'm not sure, you would have had the armrest up, or maybe, like, I'm not sure. But well, definitely what we can say from the storage spaces, not the best car to drink while driving, even if it is just water. They did find a quite nice solution to open the rear doors, that, you know, this kind of three-door hatch design scheme isn't disturbed. So it is possible here. We know that, for example, also from Alfa Romeo, they have been using this one quite often, also some in Ford models. And actually, you know, you can open this coupe corner then. Let's get inside. I got the seats, well, not the way in the front, because we always want to give you a very authentic look. How does it look like when also tall drivers are in the front? And then there is not really plenty of space left here. Well, it does fit for me. I'm 1.86 m. Our subscribers know that, because there's some spare space here. It does fit for the Nissan, but very closely. And well, you sit kind of high. Yeah. And now, as we do not have a panoramic roof here and there, there's one optionally available. I got some space like this above my head, so that's kind of feasible. And but definitely in the compact car segment, they are way better competitors, which have more space in the back. It's clearly not the special feature about this car here. So if you're quite often traveling with adults in the back, then you should not go for the panoramic roof. And as I said, also it's kind of, you know, stiff from the polster here in the rear. So, well, definitely not the best position here in the rear of the car. That's not what this car is really about. Even the standard C4 has more space here in the rear. However, the whole design scheme on the seating areas and also on the backrests, and I think this one is really well executed. This is what the DS cars are about, that even in the rear here you got the same good design. Let's take a look at the trunk. It's the same, of course, in the normal hatchback version. And well, the usual hatchback have the disadvantage, they have kind of high loading sill here, and then you have kind of a hole in it. But as you can see here, we do lose some space in the height here, but depends on, do you want to carry things which are kind of high? Well, mostly maybe not. And then this trunk is actually quite well usable. You can see our setup here with the backpack and two small trolleys. And well, that one actually works. You see there's also a ski hatch available. I can also flip the seats and you can see how the setup looks like this then. Only possible to flip the seats from the rear compartment. And that does look like this, and we got a small step inside here, but you can then load through lower things. And maybe I can also check the ski hatch if I can get that one to work. First this and then that one. This is hello, this is me, the ski hatch, so that's possible as well, or for your next IKEA shopping tour. And then some of you were also asking what about the front seat, if it will be even longer, the stuff you're carrying. So when I first put this 2/3, 1/3 split, totally, and then let's see what we can do with the front seat, because this could give you maximum flexibility. Could actually, but let's see if we move that one all the way into front. Yeah, some of you always say, I like it when Tom is doing the car workouts. But, well, it seems like this is the maximum position, so it's not possible to fold this seat flat here. So that's kind of it. You have to be leaving it with that one. Let's take a look beneath the hood. 24,000 euros the entry price for the smallest engine with the smallest trim, and then you get more into the 40,000 euros region when you pick the biggest engine here and the biggest trim. Kind of strange system, by the way, to attach the hood. I'm not really sure about it. 2-liter diesel with 180 horsepower, also optionally available with automatic gearbox. We do have that one. Then you can also get a 150 horsepower diesel with the same 2-liter of displacement. Then there is also a 1.6-liter diesel available with 120 horsepower, also optional with auto gearbox. But strange is here for the Crossback, the 150 horsepower variant is not available. And then there's petrol engine, 1.2-liter and 1.6-liter, 130 horsepower until 210 horsepower. But then again, and this is kind of strange then, here for the Crossback they really went for the situation that you cannot pick all of the engines. You can only pick the small petrol engine or one of the two diesels, but not the middle variant. I'm not sure. I think it would have made more sense to go, maybe say, okay, there's a surplus extra price for the Crossback, then you just pick the very top engines. But we'll also take the thing more in the talk about that one in the driving part of the review. But that's, well, basically the engine layout. So again, because it's very hard to remember those numbers, then diesel 1.6-liter or 2-liter, and petrol engine 1.2-liter or 1.6-liter, but the 1.6 not here for our Crossback variant. Let's start our test ride. We got the automatic gearbox here. The van's a little bit more silent, so putting it in D mode and releasing the electronic handbrake. This here is, as I said earlier, the 2-liter diesel with 180 horsepower. It's the top engine you can get for this very car. Right now we're starting with the kind of bumpy road, so we can also test the suspension. It's always an interesting fact. And yeah, I already now realize that we're sitting a little bit higher, as I said, these 3 centimeters. It's actually kind of cozy to sit a little bit higher than, a little bit more overview on the road. And also the seating position is, for tall people, actually then, I would definitely say, improved in comparison to the sedan version. What is actually a little bit strange is this extreme panoramic windscreen, and hardly any car I've seen it really before, because up there, just you know where your head is, usually there's something black by which you cannot really see, but here it's really not the case, and that is really interesting. You have a wide view up above, and a really beautiful feature, because usually as a driver you cannot see so much, and rear passengers, for example, always have a good view through panoramic windows up above. But here as a driver, you can almost see directly above you, and that's, well, it's a strange feeling when driving, definitely, but I think it's a very good development for sure. The question is really, which engine should I go for this one here, because with the Crossback they left out some of the engine possibilities of the hatchback, And that kind of leaves you then, for example, with this one here, with the 2-liter diesel. And well, usually I would not recommend the diesel in the compact car class segment. But in this case, well, the other options are all weaker. So I think I would go for the strongest petrol engine with this car, but that is not available with the Crossback then. I've just asked the manager for the DS brand and said, okay, why did you do that? And he just said, okay, well, we checked out the market, which demands coming from the customers, and those engines were those where we expect the highest demand. So kind of strange on the one hand. So, but what's your opinion on that? Would you have liked also the big petrol engine in the Crossback? Looking forward to that one in the comments. The automatic gearbox, you know, I usually do prefer automatic gearboxes, and here so far, well, when you're driving quite slowly, it's also feeling kind of smooth. But the truth with automatic gearbox is always just discovered when you really push the car, and we'll drive a little bit out of the city quite soon, and then we can also really test that one. In the weaker engine versions, you can also combine it, of course, with a manual gearbox. And these ones here, the bigger engines, they are not always connected with the auto gearbox. You can do this one optionally then. And no, that's not a possibility yet so far, but let's first focus on the suspension here, because especially with the Crossback sitting a little bit higher, you could say, okay, that's a little bit more comfort, but the problem is when you just put a car higher, it's sometimes also that you lose some suspension space, kind of. And well, really looking forward to that. But so far, here now on the plain roads, I cannot moan anything about it. The steering wheel is actually kind of huge for a compact car, definitely. So this already tells us how this car is really set up, that it's not focusing on this very sporty driving. It's really more focusing on the relaxed, elaborate driving. It also fits to this very huge front screen, and also the seating position. And well, these seats we've shown you earlier, I think are very comfortable. And so far, it also makes the impression that build will also be suitable for some longer rides, actually. About the steering, then the reaction, yeah, it's again also not a very sporty direct steering. Again, more focused on the very smooth comfort, that definitely. About standing still in traffic, also paying attention to the sound insulation, because so far, I mean, the Citroen cars, you know, they didn't have the best sound insulation if you compare it to the other cars, definitely. But, you know, this is here the premium version of the car, and so we also expect this to be a little bit better than. I mean, you have to think about, if you go for a normal C4, the compact car of Citroen, you just pay about 17,000 euros. This one already starts at 24,000 euros, 1,500 euros more even for the Crossback version. So let's see. And, we're in Berlin, by the way, and this also means heavy traffic as long as we are inside the city. But then we also try to get out to show you even a little bit more of the dynamic driving. What else do you realize when driving here? If you look at the new infotainment system, it's not really the one we have been seeing in the other Citroen and Peugeot cars with a touch screen, and where you can control everything about the touch. It is still a touchscreen, but it's not really the one we have seen before, because it's not really separated, it's more like integrated. And we'll also see how the GPS will actually guide our way. But so far, well, I think it's not the best modern visualization so far, but I think as a driver, you will actually get along with it. So we're a little bit more out in the countryside now, close to Berlin. And by the way, this panoramic screen, I've shown you that earlier. You now also see what effect it's doing on my face, because it's really funny, as you can do this shade first, and then if you still need more, you can slide that down completely, and then it's really again a little bit darker here. But so far, nice sunny weather today. I'm not that blinded by the light. So I can just fix that one here and have really, Okay, we found it out. While driving, it might cause some problems, but that's Autogefühl live testing for sure. So, and then about the automatic gearbox and a little bit of the acceleration, we can find out more about that. I'll just come to a stop now. We're going a little bit downhill now, so don't wonder about like a very good performance. But we can also see especially how this auto gearbox performs. Let's see, let's do like 0 to 40 maybe or something like that. Let's go now. Okay, 0 to 50 that was now. Actually a quite good performance. Of course the diesel doesn't have the greatest sound, but you know, if you want the best accelerating engine, well, probably that one here with the torque, definitely. And the auto gearbox is actually doing quite well. We did have actually some Citroens, well, especially with this automatic manual transmission, that is one is definitely horrible, but also the other automatic gearboxes, we weren't too keen on them so far, but I think they did a little bit of tuning here, and so far I'm actually quite satisfied with it. So in this case I can really recommend you to go for the auto gearbox. I think nowadays, if you're maybe not riding a pure sports car where you want that manual shifting intentionally, for all of the other cars you can moreover go to the auto gearboxes. And I think especially our friends in the US will confirm me there, because you know the US market is famous for a lot of automated cars, and maybe you can put your market information there in the info box in our comments. What's your market about? Manual transmission more or the auto gearbox? Also, I think the sound isolation, tested a little bit on the motorway, a little bit inside the city, also here in the countryside now, it's actually quite good. I think they've also been working that a little bit. By the way, as for the shifting, and for the general engine characteristics, I can also pick a sports mode, and then the RPM is turned up a little bit more, and also the gear is shifted later on. So if you even want a little bit more performance, you can always go for that sport mode, or you can also put the automatic shifting lever to the left side and then go manual 1, 2, 3. Doesn't do good 3 now. No. So you can also pick the manual. That is, for example, important if you're maybe going downhill for a very long time. Then you might want to use the engine braking. For example, going to the second gear now when you're just going downhill. That is one important factor for that one. So far, upright seating position, a little bit sitting higher, relaxed drive, really comfortable ride, no direct steering whatsoever. See, I also need really long steering ways, definitely, but good panoramic view. So for a relaxed ride with panoramic view, this is actually then the right car for you. Let's get inside, then we can also see another interior. You know, I don't like it, but this is one here is the optional leather interior. From the styling, I think very good, especially because I like bright colors with interiors. You see, it's all the same scheme, and the color is really beautiful, I think, but I think you could have just made it from artificial leather, so no animal should have been harmed here. But as said, the styling is really good. Also, the dashboard is really in the same color, and the color, I think, well, it shouldn't be too reflecting in the front, because you know, when you pick too bright leather, for example, this bright leather in a Porsche Cayenne or something like that, then it's get reflecting in the windscreen. But that one should still be working. Again, a very great styling, but wrong surface material choice. Especially, I like the styling of the seats here. Look at that one. They have this special structure which should be adapting to your body especially, but I'll soon take a look into that one, how these one also play out in the comfort. And we'll also take a ride, because the engine we see here is also a different one. This one here is my favorite engine, 1.6 liter petrol engine with 210 horsepower, the strongest petrol engine you can actually get. Sadly, this one, THP, it says, it can only be get with a manual transmission, so no automatic gearbox option here, but that offers us the next possibility also to tell you something about the manual gearbox of the DS4. And let's start our short test ride with this vehicle now. Alright, let's drive the 1.6 liter petrol engine, the biggest petrol engine that is available. I think the diesel will have a little bit more torque for sure, so diesel is also the most expensive variant actually, and manual transmission. Let's see how that one plays out. Of course the sound is better than with the diesel engine, but surely not that very sporty sound. Also now driving the hatchback compared to the crossback, and yes, you do feel that you sit a little bit lower, and you know, as the car is generally set on the comfort mode, not really sporty from steering or from any other reactions, I think it feels better to drive the crossback because then you sit a little bit higher, have this crossover feeling. However, well, the shifting process here now, just testing some third gear, go second gear. Yeah, there isn't too much resistance. Maybe when you go in the first gear, there it's just taking my feeling in hand. Could be a little bit less resistance here when shifting, definitely. So that's why I usually also tend to go for the automatic gearbox, unless they are very, very good manual gearboxes, which also happened actually from time to time. So, and I'm also following the GPS now, so I can comment more about that, how that one plays out. By the way, about the consumption for the other car, that was still said 15 liters, but that can't really be. This diesel never ever consumes 15 liters, more like maybe 5-6 liters or something, but it was actually wrong in the info screen. Here for the petrol engine, it says now, by the way, about 8 liters. That one is realistic, so I would guess something like 6 liters for the diesel and 8 liters for this one, because I've driven the engine or similar engines of these ones in also similar cars before, so you also have some kind of experience how this then actually plays out. About the seating position here, again, the crossback felt a little bit more comfortable because you're sitting rather upright, that's for sure. And furthermore, what's also important, seat itself, we had this combo with cloth on the inside and leather on the outside on the other model. This one here, the full leather seat, now it's definitely firmer from sitting on the seat, and it is actually worse in comfort. So even if you're not here sitting on the seat for a very long time, you directly feel the difference that the Alcantara plus real leather outside is way more comfortable than this one, just from the seating surface. I'm really surprised of that myself, because usually it's more about the surface and doesn't really change so much about the seat itself. But that's one astonishing finding here for sure. Sound insulation, it's basically the same, and as I said, the difference here now, crossback, hatchback, is here you really feel like in a normal compact car. The other one really goes into that crossover style, and that does also fit, for example, also the panoramic windscreen in front of me, which is, well, not that effective at night now anymore. Let's maybe push this engine here a little bit far. Oh, actually quite nice performance, but you can't expect too much of it, of course, that you maybe get an objective feeling for that. Let's maybe go to second gear, and let's maybe go 30 to 50, starting now. And that's 50, yeah. So you see, that's also Germany, by the way, when people are horning just when you reduce your speed from 50 to 30, just for a brief second. I'm not sure. People seem always to be in such a hurry and always seem to be angry at other people in traffic, and I'm really not sure why they are so angry. They should just keep a little bit more calm. That would be even more important. Yeah, you maybe heard that. I have to get used to the clutch here, because the clutch is actually, when you're lifting your foot, takes quite late until the process is kind of finished. And there's sometimes, you know, you roll the clutch a little bit more, but of course you have to get used to that basically. So what engine would I recommend now? The petrol or the diesel one, the big petrol or the diesel? It's a good question. Well, this one here, sadly, you cannot combine with the automatic gearbox, and I would generally really recommend the auto gearbox, not the manual one. If you pick a little bit less horsepower for this kind of petrol engine here, you see people getting crazy again already. If you pick the one with a little bit less horsepower, then it's actually, yeah, crazy what people are doing here actually. If you pick the one with the 165 horsepower, then you could get the auto gearbox, so that would maybe be the pick then. Well, I think that would, yeah, pick the 165 horsepower 1.6 liter petrol engine, then with the auto gearbox in. That's my conclusion as for the engines today. General, I can recommend more a petrol engine for the compact car for sure. Yeah, and from riding, also in conclusion, I would really go for the Crossback, because you won't have any sporty riding with this car here ever. So you can directly go for the little bit higher one. And now my conclusion on the new Citroen DS4. You know, it's really a thing. I think it's kind of a transition now. Well, is it called Citroen DS4 now or just DS4? Because I think, well, people will still search it with the Citroen DS4. So I think for some years this connection will still remain the same. Anyways, now the conclusion on the DS4. I think first of all it's very brave that they've done it, especially with the Crossback variant. They did something new. Not so many competitors offer that one in the compact class yet, especially not in the hatchback versions. You see, we've seen some of these variants with the estates or station wagon or combi, as we call them in Germany, for example, a Seat Leon Experience or Golf Alltrack, something like that, but not really in the hatchback segment. So I think it's very interesting that they have taken this step now. And this car really catches some attention because it is definitely different. A design focus on the exterior and the interior with this car, and we've seen a lot of playful elements, and I really like that. On the con side, there were, you know, some rattling elements, for example, when you close the doors or maybe the hood, that don't seem to be that very solid as we've seen, for example, from other competitors. Also on the interior, well, the basic stuff is actually quite good, also from the quality of materials, but there again we had also better examples seen so far. And for example, some flaws, like I could lift the automatic shifting lever, for example, that should be actually eliminated. But the design styling elements, again, very good. Also how the seats were formed actually, and I think you can also expect a lot of comfort from them. So the long-term run also from driving was actually quite pleasing. Also with this wide panoramic front screen. So actually a nice compact travel car, especially when they got that 3 centimeters higher ride here now. I think if I would go for this car, I would definitely pick the Crossback variant to have something even more special. And of course, why not having the higher ride? Because it's not a sporty ride anyway. It's really all about this rather comfy crossover ride. So thank you for watching, guys, and I want to hear your comments now on the exterior, interior, and also what you think about from what I've told you about driving this car, and of course also about the general strategy of Citroen, about Citroen DS forming into a separate brand. What's your opinion on that one? And I hope you have enjoyed our autumn episode here, Autogefühl in autumn in Germany, close to Berlin. And we'll surely see us all at the next episode. I really enjoyed doing that one here with you again. I hope you did so as well. Till next time. Thank you.